Hi, my brothers and sisters. Good morning. Welcome to our Hello Sun Life. And remember, it's always Monday to Friday, 7:30 a.m. Michigan time, Detroit, Michigan time. And today we will talk about how to give it to God the Father and let rowing go today. Every day we have our problems, right? Every day we have things that we need to manage to keep going. And this is what we will start to talk today because it's something that I can see happening not only, for example, in my life, but in many people's lives too. Why? Because this year, like I said before, will not be uneasy. And this was complicated. This was not easy. Everyone, they were in quarantine. Everyone, they were stuck inside the house. Everyone, they didn't have ways to express themselves, let's say like that, out of their house because they needed to stay inside. Can you see how human beings they have difficult to stay inside? We stay all over the place because depression, anxiety, and other things, and we don't know how to just stay inside and live inside because our world was made, to enjoy the things outside, to work outside, to do the things outside. But we will arrive there. But the main goal that I want to show you today, I want to talk, you know, like I really want, um, how are you say, um, we are having a little, with a little problem with the connection here. It's because it's snowing here. I live in Michigan and it's snowing. But I want your attention. I want your heart with me, to you see how you will give it to God the Father. And don't worry about that. And what's people they are doing, but the like when we are trying to give our car to someone that we don't trust because that someone is a stranger, then how we will give something so personal like our car to someone else if we don't know that person, if we don't trust that person? And this is not only about the trust, because trust, my beloved, is just the consequence about knowing. Because when we know someone, and if that person is a good person, we will not have difficult to trust that person just because we already have a relationship. We know that person. But this is the problems because people today, and you can see maybe in your life, and I saw in my life, you have difficult to trust in God. It's because of this. And it's more complicated. It's a little more terrible because today, unfortunately, how we are living just like a religiosity, we have difficult to trust in God because we don't know Him at least as the Lord. Because many of us, we didn't have at least a first big experience with God. And when I'm talking experience, I'm not talking about read the Bible. I'm not talking about sing a gospel music. I'm not talking go to church every Sunday. No, this is not experience. This is routine. What I'm talking about experience to at least know Him as the Lord, I'm talking about a supernatural experience like physical healing or prophecy. When God they don't have at least this. my connection. My connection is not so good because this is no. But people they have difficult at least to have this first big experience with God, and then it will be like this situation, giving a car to someone that we don't trust, right? And one thing that happened with me, I will say to you a little history. One thing that happened with me when I accept Jesus as the Lord, I had 15 years old. And I remember, in that moment, I was always liking and, to enjoy video games and do all that. And in that specific moment, I was really young, right? And then, I wanted like to start to date, inside the church, really young. And, I was just looking to some girls, looking here, looking there. But, you know, and then I started to see like other couples, and then I said, look at that, right? This is interesting, I can see like in this church, for example, I can see some couples. Then I believe it's okay, right? It's okay to have or to look to other women and try to see if I can have something. And I was living normal, inside the church, like singing and play percussion, because I was in the worship band. And then I started to see more those couples outside. And then started to grow in like almost like a why they are doing, and I'm not doing yet. Why they started a relationship and I didn't start yet. I'm looking here in this environment like some couples already, and why this is not happening with me. And then I started to see some families together with other families and their kids. They were, starting a real relationship. And I remember in that moment, the only one who accepted Jesus in my family was just me. Because, in that moment was living me, my mom, and my grandfather. And, from my family in that moment, I just had maybe two aunts that were like Christians. But just, and in home, it was just me. And then I saw the families together, and that was growing things inside me. Then, I say, I saw like people starting to stay apart of me, not like directly, but because they started, and then I started to feel alone. And while I was feeling alone, another feeling was growing inside me. I was starting to see small groups. One feeling was leading to another feeling, like about small divisions. And not necessarily they were in visions, but inside me, about what I saw, that was what I was feeling that moment. And I tried including, because in that moment the church had like a different other church, like a small church from the same, like mother church, let's say like that, in other place. And then I started to go if I started to see someone that was really good, let's say like that, with 15, 16 years old. And what I saw a woman, I saw, whoa, she looks like a, and then what's happening is because I was trying to stay close of her, but I just discovered that she liked other person, and that was like a big cold water on my head. And then I said, oh, I can't believe that. How this is happening? I don't want to to feel alone. I don't want because how we have difficulty with God stuff, then at least let's try to do with what we can see and what I can manage with my own hands. And we go to different relationships, we start different relationships, we stay close of wrong people, and so on. And then in the future, we'll see what I did, right? And in that moment, when I saw her like staying more far, understanding that I started to like her, and then she started to stay apart too. She started to stay far too. But then something happened. I decided to leave that. And in this first moment, it looked like, whoa, this was not good, right? You are not. It was complicated because I was in that church for almost 9 years. And, I had friends and all that, and it was difficult. But, we prayed together, we cried, because we were connected, we had friendship. And then something that's supposed to be something bad, that was the first thing that happened in my life to go to another phrase, because sometimes a dot in your life will not be an end. It will be just a start of a new phase in your life. And in this case, a new phrase. And that moment led me in the future, some month after that, to have my first big experience with God. And in that day, I met God as the Lord. I said a little in the last video, God used the prophet to reveal something that only God and me knew. And then in that moment, I saw, whoa, God really exists. And in that moment, I saw, whoa, God is not a religion. God is not something that it's in the heaven so far. No, he just used this man here to talk something that no one knew. Just God himself and me knew. And then I saw are in all over the place, his eyes are in all over the places, looking everything. He is the Lord. He's powerful. And that was the day that I met God as the Lord. And it's okay. It's great. The problem is because most of people today, they don't have at least this first experience with God. And I'm not talking the other part. And that is the reason, one of the reasons that we are humans, with desires. But the problem is because by flesh, we don't have like in our normal family, when we don't have our parents, when we are kids, to stay together, to help us. We will have difficult to do things. We will hurt ourselves. It's the same like a little baby when that baby is trying to touch like that energy on the wall, that small thing that we connect, our devices there. That little baby will hurt himself or herself. And then that little baby will cry, to his or her parents, oh, I hurt my finger or something. Because it's okay, we are humans, but the problem is because we live by flesh. Today we live more by flesh than by spirit, and because of that we are not wise. Because when we are living by flesh, we are using all the time the lens of the law, not the lens of the love, because we didn't receive love. I didn't have a natural father in my life. And that is the relationship with God after I heard God's voice already, of course. For me, was really difficult because God, He was showing His love to me in some ways that I didn't accept that. I said, believe me, I started to talk with God. God, no, stop that. I'm doing this and you are loving me. This is not right. The lens of the love. And then I started to scream with God. not scream. I was doing wrong. I needed to be punished. But this is not how the way God works. You know, I was stressed, right? And it's funny because I I did a short video on Facebook, and the title it's like about our garbage. And the first one I said, including about this, like, hey, like I was shaking you and I was talking serious there. Like, you are wrong when you try to manipulate, when you try to control, when you try to do this thing by force, because God doesn't work by force. He works by freedom. And to have the real freedom, we need to respect a little process with Him. And the first one is that you need to meet Him for real, not by a religious way. And this will happen with you. I believe that. You know, it's like I said in the last video here on YouTube, and include, I believe this can be included almost like a part two of that video from yesterday. Because we need to trust God. We need to give to Him our problems. But the main goal is not only to give to God as the Lord when we have that experience, but God the Father. And it's like my case, as the Lord, the people was talking to me, oh, He's a father. And I was thinking inside myself, no, He's not a father. What kind of father is that? That allow me to stay soft, some girl, and nothing was happening. What kind of father is that? He doesn't love me. He's not a father. I didn't have a natural father. How are you know with my own eyes? How are you believing a father with my own eyes? How are you believing a father that I can't see with my own eyes? For me, it will be impossible. But then that day, in September 26th of 2006, was my first step to start to know a daddy. And in that day, I met God for real in my life. Then, responsibility to someone like, and if I need to give that responsibility, the problem is because we can't, because we don't trust in that person. And this is something that is true. How will you give something so important to someone that we don't know? At least know, at least to say hi, good morning. Do you know when we have like a real father in our lives? But that father is not wise, that he generated you, let's say like that. He was like almost like a lord, right, in your home, trying to do the things, working, but he was working and doing that, but he didn't was with you. Know at least that he existed, and he was working, right? He was doing something, like he did in my life when he used that prophet to say something that only me and he knew. Then I have a question to you. Who knows more when we are kids? For example, me and you, or our parents? I believe our parents, right? Because they have more experience. And why? And this is the first thing, right? Simple, something simple and basic, because everything what I'm trying to do here is to try to give you the truth, the revelation in a simple way, indirect, because they are. And then, okay, we know that our parents, they are more smart, intelligent. wise than a little baby, of course, right? We know them. A little baby, when he is on the bed and the dad, it's on the other side saying, hey, jump, jump, come in, come in. That little kid, not the baby, but a little kid, that little kid will not have difficulty to jump in that father's arms because that little kid knows the father. He can see, he can hear the father. He can see, he can hear, he can touch, he can he can feel. Then we trust in our parents because we know them. Them. We don't learn about them information. We know them. Revelation, receiving because we are looking, we are touching, because we are hearing them. Got it? This mystery? Then to understand the why, more daddy than God, why he is more daddy than God. To understand this and then go to live in practice the Father that everyone talks in theory, we need to know the how is the familiar communication of God. This is better than what the revelation, right? And very soon will be the launch. Register your email there. Just go to our website, moredaddydangod.com, and register your email because we will do like a pre-launch event online and free. And I want you there. Then to understand the familiar communication of God, when we are talking about the familiar communication of God, and in this case in three, this more daddy than God, and start to live in practice the Father that everyone talks in theory. But for that, we need like a structure here, our consciousness, our the revelation. We will start to understand the revelation. It's what I like to say. What exists? It's the revelation behind the revelation. All right. Then to have a real relationship with God, we need already listen God's voice. Because of course, if we are having a relationship with someone, we are already listening at someone. We are already looking at someone, seeing that someone, and so on, right? Ways to trust in God. We will have ways to give it to God the Father. Because when we are already in a real relationship with God, it means that we are already knowing God the Father, not only as the Lord anymore, we are already knowing God the Father. But more than give it to God, it's better to give it to God the Father. That is the reason I believe more than 90% of people in this planet, when they have some kind of experience with God, the supernatural will exist. When they have a physical healing, when someone pray on them and then they will be healed, or if God used a prophet like happened with me to reveal something that only God and that person knew. For most of the people in this planet. But we have a lot, God, He gave me that revelation. The structure of more daddy than God, the revelation, it's that. Is to have like 3 steps to really start for real and in a healthy way, without religiosity, without being fake, without fantasy, but with facts. We will launch more daddy than God, the revelation. And if you want to know more, go to my personal website. It's manucastro.com.br. And there will be the link also for More Daddy Than God, or go directly, because very soon in this week yet, the website from More Daddy Than God will be online, and then you can register your email to be ready for that launch. And then you will launch, More Daddy Than God. And you need to understand this. And one thing that happened with me between God Himself, He set me free, and then, He set me free from what? From porn addiction, from depression. And then, after that, God Himself healed me. God Himself, He healed me from my emotional traumas to hear God's voice. Three steps that happened in my life, and all these three steps happened in less than 1 month. Sometimes we think, oh, but to have this kind of experience with God, I will need like a lot of months. No, mm, not necessary. No, it can be fast. You just need to know what is the right path. The problem is because, do you know a phrase that it's always talking like all the roads direct go directly to Rome, to that country Rome, right? In Italy. And this is not true in this case here. We have something right. We have a path that we need to respect. Today, in these days, just because we are too much close of the darkness today, living by flesh, don't care about God, just living a religious life. And just because our background, because we have years and years and years and years being a Christian, for example. And in my case, for example, I had that bachelor degree in theology, and then God needed to say, hey, take everything out because I need to put something new. Okay, put this in the side. Actually, in your case, put in the garbage. And then God, He started to reveal something new for me. And then all that happened in less than 1 month. And when He healed me from my traumas, I met a father. And I didn't have a natural father, right? But in that day, I met a father. I met Woe, and I was just crying. The only thing I have ways to do was just start to cry because it was powerful. And all this happened inside my closet. It didn't live from God Himself. It was inside my closet. When God Himself He healed me from my traumas, it was inside my closet too. And when God Himself He healed me from my traumas, but after that, in my babe steps, right, in a real relationship with Him, I met a daddy. A daddy. Do you know, like, for example, that little girl when she is little, young, and when she is in her bedroom waiting, they go, from daddy 10 p.m. That I have in Instagram every day. I do a live video too, a deeper live video, but in a soft way to explain to you, some things more from our daddy to you understand more fast the familiar communication of God, but in a soft way there. Inside the Instagram, I have a series, Daddy 10 p.m., where every day, Monday to Friday, I'm doing this. I'm sharing with you a history from God Himself that He wants me to share with you. And it's okay. It's normal. But anxiety, it's another level. It's another thing because it's like we are living in the future for the Father who will bring the food. Do you think a little baby and a kid, they have on if the father will go to work next day? to bring the food. No. The only thing that we want is enjoy. He tried to jump from the bed in his father's arms. And that little kid, they don't have concern. They trust in their parents. It's just because they know him. First of all, they can't see them, they can hear them, and then they have a relationship with them, a real relationship with them, and that is the real. Then the first step, just to finish, the first step is to know the real truth by revelation in your consciousness, deeper in your consciousness. And it's what I'm trying to show you here. Because it's not about it's about revelation. It's not something that I learned on the internet relationship too. It's what app, Telegram app. It's a free app that you can download to your cell phone. And I created a channel there. It's called I Want the Life. And here in the description you can see, my social medias. You can see, and be inside the Telegram app where I share every day audio, videos, and text studies that I don't share in any other place. I don't share in any other place. It's just inside Instagram in my channel there. And every day, I'm sharing there. And there is like I sent a video, a small video. I believe it was yesterday, talking like don't give up. I know today you have difficult to believe. I know today you have difficult to give to a real father, but don't give up. You just need to do that. You just need to know this daddy. But before to know the daddy, you need to know the father. And before to know the father, you need to know that at least he exists. He is the Lord. Have a meeting, let's say like that, with God. When they have a supernatural experience with God. These three steps. The problem is because the people, they just stay in the first step when they have an encounter with God. And in that moment, they will see, whoa, God healed my body. Or, whoa, God used a prophet to say something that only God and me knew. You will have ways to give it to God, the Father, the Daddy, and you will not worry. And to you start this today, it's that. I will not say here, but in the last video, that is the reason I said that this video is like a part two. But in the last video, I said how you can, okay? And it's big. But the one thing that I can say to you is that have a supernatural experience with God. Physical healing or prophecy. Then, okay. And I don't know if you know that, but when you click on like, click on like in this button here. Because when you click on like, you are doing also an evangelism too. When you click on like, you are saying to YouTube, hey YouTube, spread this video, share this video with other people. Then do that. Then, like I said, who is online here with me will have, it's a way to honor these people. It's where you pray with them. When you are live here with me, it's where I answer your doubts, your questions. When you are live here with me. Amen. And that's what I wanted to talk with you today. And I see you tomorrow. Okay? God bless you and see you soon. Bye bye.